Draymond Green seems to be, based on post-game comments yesterday that I have no reason to doubt, when he says that was fun for me going at the crowd after I had been ejected. He seems to be a person, unlike many people I have met in my life, where he really, really enjoys conflict, needs conflict. Now, I don't know, if he has ruined Jordan Poole or not, but Jordan Poole doesn't seem to be worth that contract, and Jordan Poole wasn't much of anything in yesterday's game, and Draymond ran off Kevin Durant. Draymond seems like a lot, and Stugotz is already tired of him. I enjoyed last night, the theater of it, the wrestling heel aspect of it.
I'm tired of that move. The stomp on the chest. We're down game 2. We're about to go down, 2-0. If they come back in the series, Draymond takes credit for getting his team going, getting them charged up. It's the same move every single time.
But they would tell you that he's the soul of that team, though. They've given voice to that. Now, they may also be tired of him, and don't ask me why. Winning in that sport, people do get tired of each other. Somehow, I would assume it's counterintuitive. I would assume you win like that, it would be fun. Everybody would enjoy each other's company, but Pat Riley has talked about the disease of me, and everybody wants the credit for the winning. But Draymond Green, I would imagine, he burns so bright, punching teammates in the face to start a season, that everyone on occasion would be a little annoyed with Draymond Green. But, I haven't seen, for as much as Rasheed Wallace and Dennis Rodman got in trouble with technical fouls, I've never seen a player willing to throw away playoff games with his emotions. And I think it's one of the things that makes him, outside of the criminal division, most polarizing athlete playing games right now of any kind. Non-criminal division, non-Deshaun Watson stuff that is away from the field. I can't think of a more polarizing athlete anywhere in sports.
LeBron still gets a lot of that. LeBron will always forever have, I'm dealing with it now where my kid says, oh, the PE teacher coach doesn't like LeBron. I'm like, what are you doing telling kids, I don't like LeBron? Who's your coach, Stugotz? But Dan, as far as Draymond Green goes, it's like the Mike Tyson quote. It's like fire. If you can control it, it can cook for you. It can heat your home. If you can't control it, it will burn everything around you and destroy you. And that's what happened last night. They had a chance to win that game. He did that. The chance ended with that. And you mentioned it earlier in the show today, like 2016. They had a chance to win that title and probably would have won 4 in a row. And he burned it down. And in many ways, that's the cost of doing business with him. That for all the great times, it's like, hey, this guy right here is going to be responsible for a lot of success. Also, 5% of the time, he's going to wreck everything. And I know the Warriors are going to say, well, all they did was hold court and home court, and like Stugotz says, the series hasn't started yet, right? They'll say all the right things. But the reality is they had a chance to win that game last night, and he deep-sixed it for the dumbest of reasons, because Malik Monk grabbed his ankle the game before and John Goble didn't. Oh, okay, dude, play. You're the vet. They're the young team who's never been here before. And it felt like the roles were reversed.
Can you guys give me a comp? I remember talking years ago, Rob Nen, who threw 100 miles an hour as a closer for the Marlins. After a game, his hand was shaking as he was drinking water, and the water was dribbling down his chin because he couldn't stop his hand from shaking because of wherever the closer has to go to end a game throwing 100 miles an hour emotionally. Can you guys think of a comp? Dennis Rodman was kind of circus clown, but that didn't have a control of this, that it was a furnace that burned like this, and you can use it, and it's great. He's going to make the Hall of Fame, Draymond Green is, because of how good his defense is and how strong he is at often harnessing his fuel with a real genius for playing basketball. But I can't think of somebody in the history of sports who throws away playoff games because they simply can't control themselves in the back and forth of, Draymond's done that to people still playing. What he had done to him, Draymond has grabbed ankles because he likes to be a professional irritant, and he seems to really enjoy conflict.
Nick Kyrgios.
That's pretty good.
Yes, he can't control it. He's also not as good as Draymond Green.
Ooh.
He's pretty good, man. Yeah.
No,
I would say he's as good at what he does as Draymond Green is at what he does.
Like the knock on Kyrgios is that he isn't as successful as he should be because of these issues.
Right.
He recently made what was it, the Wimbledon final?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
has cost himself matches
he's
with his
outstanding.
temper. Yeah.
He's also playing in like the golden era of men's singles tennis. So he's top 5 in the world at what he does. Draymond's always been best in the world at defending, but certainly not best in the world at basketball.
Individual sport is also different because your consequences are only your own. And you don't have to walk into a locker room where you just cost a bunch of people who are trying to win a road playoff game.
You'll blame the ump.
A playoff game because you're Draymond Green and you're someone who cannot, like, it's the most childish of reactions.
And I think that's the thing when he talks about enjoying getting into it with the crowd. I don't have a problem with him getting into the crowd or even enjoying it. I have a problem with him almost kind of glossing over. I kind of cost it. Like, there's no remorse in what he did. There's no part, and I'm not talking remorse about, like, say you're sorry to Domantas Sabonis. I mean, remorse for what you just described, which is I got to walk in that locker room. We lost the game, and we could have won. We eliminated any chance of winning because of my actions. He doesn't seem to have any remorse for that.
Right. But he also feels like he has won his team a whole bunch of games.
Right, but
with that same emotion.
They're down 0-2 to the lowly Sacramento Kings. They are not that team anymore. He is not that guy anymore.
I know.
They cannot survive to just give a game away to the Sacramento Kings. They're the worst playoff team on the road. And they're just giving games away like they got KD back there. It's not the same situation.
You know, Dan, you mentioned Dennis Rodman earlier, and I think the big difference is Dennis Rodman in those scenarios would incite it in his opponent. He wasn't the one losing control. Yes, he kicked the cameraman, and he had moments where he would act out. But when you talk about his high-profile moments, playoff moments, him versus Karl Malone, him versus Alonzo Mourning, it was always, I'm going to push them to the brink. I'm with a smile on my face.
I'm going to take them out of their game.
Yeah, it was almost like Billy Gill, like just this mischievous element to it.
Evil cat. I'm a dog.
And Draymond does that a lot. But the other thing he does a lot is melt down and boil over and become the guy that is being instigated versus doing the instigating.
It's also one thing to be losing an NBA championship potentially because you're low-blowing LeBron James. Think about where you're at right now, Draymond. You're stomping on Sabonis, and you're down 0-2 to the Sacramento Kings. You're too important to the team to be doing that shit. It's not the same situation.
But when you sign Draymond, you know what you're getting, and you're signing the whole package. And we see that in microcosm elsewhere. Portis in Milwaukee, Udonis Haslem always played with anger. That's what fascinates me about athletes is that there's all different kind of makeup to an athlete, and some guys do not just need the stage and the size of the stage to motivate them. Some have to play angry. Some have to play motivated in a different way, and Draymond leads the league in that, right? He's his own mindset. You know, he's going to go into a game with a chip on his shoulder and just looking for a reason to do the things he does.
But, you know, Greg, the anger is great, and it's like that Tyson quote. It's great, but there's got to be a point of recognition. Like when he stomps on Sabonis, down 1-0 in a series, down in the fourth quarter of Game 2. What does he think the repercussions are going to be? And then the second part of it is, whatever he felt in that moment, he lost control. Okay, you went, you showered, you changed clothes, you might have gotten a grab of a bite to eat off of catering. You walked into that press conference, and like I said, zero remorse.
I agree.
Like that's the part. It's like, okay, the anger is one thing, but he's cooled down and he's still like he thinks he did nothing wrong.
Right.
And the reality is there are stakes, there are results, and now they've got half as much time to pull out this series as they had before.
I agree with you. Jimmy Butler's a very volatile player in that way, but if he does that and costs his team a game, I believe that at the dais after the game, he's going to say, I cost my team a game. And then the next game, he's going to put 38 down. You know, I agree. He should have Draymond should have apologized to his team the minute he walked in that locker room afterward. But that's not his makeup.
Do you think Steph, Clay, the guys on the team are like, oh, again? Like, we have to deal with this again? We've already seen this movie time and time
this
and time
is
again.
what I would say to you when you guys say no remorse. It's more than that. It's not no remorse. He's looking for it. He likes it. He told you after the game, that's fun for me. He's not being ejected and then leaving. He's being ejected and calling fans all sorts of names while standing on a chair.
He thinks his team needs it. Whether he's looking for it or searching for it, I think he feels like in that spot, his team needs it. There were 7 minutes to go.
Stugotz,
close out the game without Draymond.
His team needs him. Their best lineups, offensively and defensively, are with him. And this is what I would tell you beyond no remorse and apology. Once you've gotten to the point that you've cost your team a championship, your behavior can't be controlled, and you can't control it. Not a team, not an organization, not champions, not you.
He punched his teammate.
Once you've
off a feel-good offseason of winning a title.
Stugotz, consequences, like generally we learn from mistakes. Failures can become learning. Once you have to live an offseason with, I just allowed LeBron James to win the championship over my team. It was my fault. We were up 3-1. I couldn't help but kick him like a child. You're not doing remorse. You're not doing apology, and you can no longer control your behavior. This is a furnace and a fuel that he does not control.
One would think that would have been a life-changing event for him, like that would just send him in a different path, and instead he's doing the same old thing over and over again.
And you guys say that his teammates may be tired of it, but I haven't heard that. I haven't heard anonymous sources quoted as saying that. Kevin Durant left there, and then he and Draymond teamed up on changing what that story was.
Pool's got to be tired of it.
I mean, wouldn't you be tired of it if you were a fan of that team? I mean, Poole, what did you see?
Oh,
Poole,
I think the fans love him.
Poole's a shell of himself out there.